There's nothing quite so bad as somebody who's just so smug. And this guy is without a doubt one of the smuggest dudes I've ever seen appear in court. Now, it seems from the stories that he's been wreaking havoc in this house share that he's in, especially considering every other person living there wants to get a restraining order against him. Now, I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking in this video because, as you can probably hear, I'm still a little bit under the weather. So I'm just going to let it play for you and we'll catch you at the end.
Right. All matters are protection from abuse cases. 26 DM 169 is Jessica Lynn Lamb versus Skylar Harris. 23 DM 168 is Gregor Navarre versus Skylar Harris, and 23 DM 167 is Samuel B. Hurst versus Skylar Harris. All right. So just unmute yourself. I'm going to ask you some questions here before we proceed. Miss Lamb, do you understand that you have a right to have an attorney represent you at this hearing?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Mr. Hurst, do you understand you have a right to have an attorney represent you at this hearing?
Yes, I do.
Mr. Bird, you understand that you have a right to have an attorney represent you at this hearing?
Yes, I do.
And Mr. Harris, do you understand that you have a right to have an attorney represent you at this hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, that attorney can't be appointed. There's no possibility of jail time in a domestic case unless you violate orders. If you want to seek out counsel, I want you to speak up right now because I want to make sure you have knowledge of your rights. Ms. Lamb, are you wanting to seek out an attorney?
No.
Mr. Hurst?
No.
Mr. Burr?
No.
And Mr. Harris, are you wanting to? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Lamb, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down. Mr. Hurst, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Mr. Burr, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
Put your hand down. Mr. Harris, you got your hand up. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down. Everybody's been duly sworn, and you should know that if you lie under oath, the penalty of that is a perjury, and so make sure that you tell the truth. All right. First of all, Mr. Harris, are you contesting any of these three petitions?
I'm not really. I just rather get my stuff and get out of the house. I talked to the landlord. He already said he's more than willing to let me out of the lease. They want to be done with me and I want to be done with them. And I would rather go my own way and make this not a hassle for everyone. I regret my actions. I regret what I said. I feel bad for making them scared, but sometimes we all do stupid shit and we have to live with it.
So are you contesting that? Are you contesting the allegations of the petition? Or are you saying, no, I didn't do that? Or are you admitting to them?
I mean, not the allegations of the petitions. I guess there's some things in there. I didn't throw anything at Gregor. I don't ever remember throwing anything at Gregor. Other than that, I didn't really read through Jessica's or Sam's because I was in a rage. So.
All right. Well, we better go into it then. Miss Lamb. Well, actually, we'll start at 167. We'll just go in order. 167, 168, and 169. That'd be Samuel Hurst. Right. Mr. Hurst, tell the court why you're wanting the protection from abuse filed against you, or filed against Mr. Harris. And go ahead and just tell me your testimony, show me any evidence that you may have, but go ahead.
I asked for protection from the courts because me and Skylar, me and Mr. Harris have had a couple of different interactions.
Do you have the YouTube link up and going? Because I'm getting like a little, or do you got anything else going on or anything? I'm getting like an echo in your room.
That'd be because the three of us are in the same room.
Any way that you can go somewhere else?
Yep.
I mean, you can all be on the same camera. you know, or use the same one, but if you could go somewhere else, yeah.
I asked for the protection order with Mr. Harris because he had a couple different altercations that had ended very negatively, quite aggressively, and
Tell me about those.
the first one was back in the winter. Mr. Harris had a poor decision moment in which our house had been damaged. And when I asked him to clean it up, he was very aggressive because he was still partially intoxicated, I believe. It had brought into question my own physical health when he was pissed off and enraged.
Tell me specifics. You're kind of dancing around this subject. I want to know specifics of what happened there.
All right. So I had asked Mr. Harris to clean up the mess he had made within our house, and he decided to openly threaten my life and tried beating my door in while telling me he was going to kill me.
Were those his exact words?
I can't remember his exact words from the time due to the fact that I was mostly just shocked and trying to hide within my room from him.
Okay. And was there another time?
And the other time was here quite recently. Mr. Harris had been aggravated, I would say, throughout the day, it seemed. And at night, after he broke a mirror, he came downstairs to confront me on acting weird around him. At which point I told him he had been extremely aggressive, which led to us very heatedly arguing within my room and me telling him to leave my room as immediately. I had blocked him on most everything, and so a random number that night when I was out with a friend texted me complaining about the gun that I have in my room and the fact that I was drinking. I responded telling him to cry about it, at which point he continued to berate me for it, and I helped make a very long text message that provoked Mr. Harris into coming downstairs and telling me that he was going to beat me to nothing, telling me that I had to go to sleep at some point, and telling me that I needed to use my shotgun and follow in my sister's steps.
And tell me the circumstances of that. Why would he say that?
The message we sent was in the idea of this is what we see and this is what we see happening. And we also mentioned that Mr. Harris's behavior was going to end up landing him in jail to where he wouldn't be able to see his kids, which he cares about quite deeply. And so it provoked him and made him angry enough that he felt the need to come downstairs and scream in our faces scream in my face, to threaten to beat me and to tell me to kill myself repeatedly.
Okay. Mr. Harris, are you denying either of those things that happened?
I don't recall what exactly was said, but yes, I was very much aggressive towards Samuel on those two events. I can't tell you what exactly was said because that's kind of the heavy assumption there.
Okay.
You were right, Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Hurst. All right, let's go on to the next case. That would be Gregory Navarre. Mr. Hurst, I did something that I should have done before. You can go back to that room so you can sit down. I muted everybody else. I don't know why I wasn't thinking that, because I wasn't. So I'm going to mute you, And Mr. Burr, you want to unmute? I'm going to ask you to unmute right there.
I think I'm unmuted.
There it is.
Okay.
Mr. Burr, now's your time to tell me your testimony as to why you want a protection order from abuse, specifically to you. It has nothing to do with the house. I know you all live together, maybe, or possibly, I don't know, but specifically to you. Go ahead, Mr. Burr.
Well, I've been home in my room and I hear Skyler sometime stomping around in his room, hitting things, and I just don't feel very comfortable with that.
Okay, well, tell me why.
Kind of a lot. Like why?
Yeah, I'm still getting a little bit of echo. I don't know what it's from. I can still hear you though. Why do you specifically feel like there's danger to your health?
Well, I'm friends with Sam and Jess.
Okay. And is that a bad thing in this relationship or what?
Well, the night that it all did happen, I was in the same room with Sam, and that really scared me.
Okay. Did you feel like your life was threatened along with his?
Threatened? No.
Did you feel fear that you would get hurt?
Hurt? Maybe, yeah.
Okay. And that was the one night. Was there another incident?
No, I just moved in recently, so I don't think there was.
There was just the one incident? Mr. Harris?
Yes, sir.
You've seen the allegations of Mr. Burr and you've heard his testimony. You can tell the court why you don't think there needs to be a protection order.
I mean, if he legitimately thinks I am a danger to him, I feel bad about that. But in his allegations, he said that I threw a glass at him or something like that. And I made it very clear to everyone around, like to Sam and Jessica, that I had no idea anybody was home. He was downstairs when I threw the one glass and it broke. And I admitted to my loss of anger. They're just making up stuff on his account because they want me out of the house, which I've already agreed to. I just don't need them to lie on my name to get me out. I'm agreeing to get the hell out of the house. Please don't lie on my name.
Okay, Mr. Burr, anything else for your case?
I don't believe I remember typing saying he threw it at me. I just remember typing he threw a glass.
Okay. And that was when you were around or in the house or?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where were you when he threw it?
In my room downstairs.
And then he was on the main floor or upstairs, or how's the house set?
Yeah, the upstairs main floor.
Okay. All right. Has it happened before? Have you seen bouts of anger before with Mr. Harris?
No.
No, that was it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Burr. You can go on mute. Miss Lamb, I'm going to ask you to unmute. Miss Lamb, now's the time for your testimony and any evidence you have. Tell me why you believe that Mr. Harris should have a no contact order with you.
There have been multiple instances in the past where he was very aggressive and angry just in the house while I was home.
Tell me about a couple of them.
He lives right across from me, right across the hall. He would get mad at random things and I'd start hearing him throwing things or throwing things in the hall. or breaking his door, slamming his door, just cursing and kind of yelling, getting mad at his stuff. I don't really know what would cause the anger, but it would happen multiple times at random parts of the day or in the middle of the night.
When
Yeah.
when was this? When are these incidences alleged to have happened? Like a month ago, a couple
Um,
months ago, a couple weeks ago?
yeah, within the last, since the beginning of the year, there've been a couple every every other month or so. It depends.
Okay. And specifically, can you recall like an event and tell me the details of it?
There was one night where I was at home, no one else was here, and then I just hear throwing stuff. He broke his door, which we found out the next day. Because he was just getting angry because his room is smaller than everyone else's, and he's brought that up multiple times. So he was moving around all his stuff, throwing stuff, cursing, kind of yelling, throwing his stuff out into the hallway to rearrange his room. And it's not very comforting for me since I have a door that's just right there into the hallway.
And that's happened more than once? Yes. Okay. Mr. Harris, now's the time that you can rebut that testimony.
Was that door broken by me or was it broken by your ex-boyfriend before? I'm pretty sure we had text messages discussing that it was broken beforehand and how I hated that the landlord just kind of pushed it back. Did I break that, or was the door already broken?
The door was already broken from the beginning of the year when you trashed the house and broke that door.
Okay. Mr. Harris, you want to testify?
I didn't live in that room at the first of the year. She's lying. I lived downstairs with Samuel.
You broke
Okay.
multiple doors in the
And so
house.
then you didn't break that door anymore?
No, Ryan lived in that room at the time. He would have noticed me breaking his door.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Harris?
There's a bit of animosity for having to move rooms because her and her ex-boyfriend couldn't get along, and they forced me to have to move into a smaller room. So that's where the animosity, where she says I invalidate her trauma or whatever. Her trauma means nothing to me. You involved me in it.
All right. Ms. Lamb, anything?
Against me specifically.
Any other testimony?
It was also the night at the beginning of the year when he came back drunk and destroyed the house. Me and my best friend.
What do you mean by destroyed the house?
He threw a cinder block. Well, it's technically a boot scraper, but it's a giant concrete block that he threw through our back door and down the stairs. It destroyed our stairs. He did break multiple doors in the house. He broke our front screen door. He tried to kick in the front door from the inside once he got into the house. He threw one of my protein shaker bottles and broke that, flipped our ottoman at the time, and then our coffee table was also thrown onto the couch.
All right. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, no, I lost my cool in January, and I 100% admitted to that. We even had the landlord come over. A cop was called that he tried to get me for criminal damage. The guy said, "No, I mean, you can't really do that after the fact," or something. I don't remember. Whatever it was. I don't recall breaking every door in the house or like the screen. Why would the landlord come fix the back door but not the front door? He came over, he fixed the window, I paid for it. I fixed the stairs. He didn't kick me out for it. I mended my fences with that. And you know what? We learned from our mistakes, and I'm really sorry I got aggressive when no one else was in the house. But I really have never done anything aggressive towards Miss Lamb.
You grabbed me that night.
Okay, well, Ms. Lamb, tell
wrist.
me, don't talk to each other. You can sure talk to me though. You'll get your testimony. Ms. Lamb, you're alleging that he grabbed you that night. Tell me about that.
The three of us, me, my best friend, and Mr. Harris, went to the SIP, and Samuel and another one of his friends were going to meet us there. Mr. Harris was trying to hit on my best friend all night, and she was getting uncomfortable. She told me she was getting uncomfortable. He sat across from us at the SIP. He kept trying to grab her hand, and so I kind of kept intercepting with my hand, grabbing hers, pulling her hand back across the table. And he just got sick of it at one time and grabbed my wrist and twisted my arm really aggressively. I did have a faint bruise the next day, but it was still like it was unnecessary to have to grab me because I was trying to make my friend more comfortable. And that was also the night he left because he was too drunk and then went home and wrecked most of the house.
Mr. Harris?
She said it right there. I was too drunk. I don't remember ever grabbing her wrist. And when Samuel told me the next day, I didn't believe it. I mean, I'm not going to invalidate anybody else's trauma because I'll get yelled at for it again. But I'm really sorry, Your Honor, that I grabbed her wrist and twisted, I guess, if that is what she thinks I did.
All right. Okay. I think let me go off screen. Y'all can go off screen too. Let me make my rulings. I'll come back on and make my ruling. All right, I have you all muted, so if somebody wants to say something at the end or has a question, you can raise your hand and I can answer it. Let me go over Mr. Burr's request first. Mr. Burr, the state statutes say there's two separate incidences of abuse, that alleged abuse. I'm only seeing one specific one. I mean, technically the glass throwing could be another one, and just kind of a constant on edge could be another one. But statutory authority doesn't really allow me to stretch it to there. So I'm going to dismiss or deny your request to continue it. All right. So yours is denied. As to the other two, okay. Mr. Hurst and Miss Lamb, the court's going to find that there is enough allegations and evidence to increase your order for another year. All right. So Miss Lamb or Mr. Harris, I'm going to order that you have no contact with Miss Lamb or Mr. Hurst, and it's good until August 30th of 2024. Now, in both these cases, here's what the order does. Okay. The final order of protection replaces any previous temporary order of protection from abuse entered by the court and serves as notice of termination of that temporary order upon service of this final order on the defendant. Defendant shall not assault, threaten, abuse, harass, follow, stalk, or interfere with the privacy of the protected person wherever they may be. Defendant shall not use, attempt to use, or threaten to use physical force that would reasonably be expected to cause bodily injury against a protected person, nor shall the defendant. Mr. Harris, are you okay?
Yeah, no, it asked if it wanted to unmute. It asked
I know. I asked you to unmute. I just want to make sure I have a conversation with you. Are you?
Yeah, no, I'm here now. I'm listening.
Are you physically okay? Because I'm seeing some issues that may be construed as direct contempt to the court's orders.
What?
Just mocking little things and dancing around.
No, I'm just.
I understand that's your demeanor through testimony, and I've let it go till right now.
Yes, sir. Sorry.
I want you to focus and maintain some consistency on emotional stability, because when I read these things to you, I want to make sure you understand them, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Defendant shall not use, attempt to use, or threaten to use physical force that would be reasonably be expected to cause bodily injury against a protected person, nor shall the defendant engage in any other conduct that would place any protected person in reasonable fear of bodily injury. Defendant shall not threaten a member of the protected person's family or household. That means you're all living together. Mr. Burr, you're basically included in this, even though your order was dismissed. Defendant shall not come on or around the premises, the residence, property, school, or place of employment of the protected person or other family members or household members of the protected person. Defendant shall not contact the protected person either directly or indirectly in any way except as authorized by the court in paragraph 8B of this order. Defendant shall not contact in any manner the protected person's employer, employees, fellow workers, or others with whom the communication would be likely to cause annoyance or alarm to the protected person. Defendant shall not direct or request another to contact the protected person either directly or indirectly in any manner except as authorized by the court in paragraph 8B of this order. Law enforcement officers are directed to grant any assistance necessary to protect the protected person from abuse by defendant and to provide any other assistance necessary to enforce these orders, including the order excluding defendant from the protected person's place of residence wherever it may be. Mr. Harris, you have items in the household. Yes, okay. Unmute for a second. Let's talk about how you're going to get those out.
I'm waiting on a judge to sign the journal entry so I can be released because I had a plea agreement on a different case. And then once I'm out, I was going to speak with the landlord about getting my stuff out, what time would work best, and then civil standby is what I was told had to happen. As soon as I get out of here, I plan to get all my stuff out of there. I really don't want to inconvenience anybody else any longer.
All right. All right. The order here on like number 10 in this, I'm going to write law enforcement shall assist plaintiff in obtaining physical custody of, and it's supposed to be minor children, but I'm going to say his personal property.
Yes, sir.
All right. And who's your landlord? What's your landlord's name?
Dave Bernasconi. And I've also been in contact with him, so he's very much aware of my situation right now and what's going on. He's just happy that I came to my senses and decided to get out and not try to fight it.
All right. Anything else before we close and excuse? Any questions that Mr. Hurst, Ms. Lamb, Mr. Burr has for me or Mr. Harris?
No, sir. Can I? Oh, never mind. Very good.
Well, there we have it, lads and lassies. This big old man baby over here just can't seem to take that maybe it's him that's the problem and everybody's out to get him. I'm glad that the judge called him on his nonsense with all the faces and stuff that he was doing because it's not fair and everybody else that's there, and it just seems like he wasn't taking the whole process seriously. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure and smash that like button and we'll catch you in the next one. Check out one of these other videos that'll pop up on the screen here for some more interesting nonsense.